Welcome to Better Said Than Written, the podcast supplement to the multimedia blog Arts of Cultures, where I try to make a personal connection with today's trending topics, or not, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. In any case, it has been a very long time since I've said this. I'm your host, Tamika Cody. When the coronavirus pandemic forced nearly everyone to isolate, shelter in place, limit social gathering, work from home, the extra downtime gave a lot of people time to think about what's next, to think about that next opportunity, that next idea. And people were definitely putting their thoughts into action. The Census Bureau reported that in 2020, more than 4 million new businesses were created in the United States. That's the highest the country has on record. Before the pandemic, people would attend networking events and industry conferences where they would share their goals, ideas, and aspirations in hopes to find the perfect window of opportunity to take the big leap. By mid-March 2020, in-person networking came to a screeching halt. But you know what? That didn't stop Kieta Rivens. She's the founder of the natural hair care company, Verified Beauty. Kieta, who's a mother, wife, and a full-time lead infant teacher in North Carolina, launched her company in the midst of the pandemic. In this episode, Kieta shares how she knocked on virtual doors to spread the word of her new business, and that one affirmation that kept her going. Kieta, thank you so much for joining me on Better Said Than Written, the revamp of Better Said Than Written. I really appreciate you reaching out to me and getting me going on this thing. So before we get into your story, let's talk about who is Kieta Rivens.
So I am a mother. I am a lead infant teacher. Definitely someone that works in the community as well. And I am the owner of Verified Beauty, and it's a natural hair care and skincare product line.
Now, when I talked to some of my friends and family about you, and I said, well, she is a lead infant teacher, everybody's like, well, what is that? And I'm like, she takes care of infants and she teaches them how to roll and do baby stuff. So can you explain to those who don't know what a lead infant teacher is, what that entails?
So I work with babies the ages between 6 months and 1 year. And I teach them how to do the pentagrass, which is something that if you don't learn, early in your development, it's very hard for you to learn later. Teach them tummy time and strengthening the muscles so they can actually learn how to crawl and tons of other things.
Now, is this a new thing for teachers, or how long has this profession been around?
It's actually been around forever. It's just that I actually went to school and got credentials to do it. So some things that, people take for granted for babies, oh, they're learning how to crawl. Yes, but there's things that you can do prior to that to help them learn how to crawl. And so that's what I work on in my classroom.
Got it. And you said that you went to school for this. What type of schooling did you have to take? Is it just like...
Well, it's actually, you can take EDU 111 and 115. It's at all the colleges, and you can get credentials to be a lead infant teacher.
Fantastic. Okay, so moving on to the family woman. You said you're a family woman, so married, children, doing everything.
Yes, I am married to my husband. We've been married for 3 years, and we have a 16-year-old.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So when you reached out to me, you were super excited. You were like, I want to get on a podcast. This is part of my goals for 2022. And you were telling me all about your business. And I'm like, okay, I need to learn more about Verified Beauty. So what inspired you to launch your business?
Well, actually, it was during the pandemic. We were in a tiny condo at that time. We've moved and we have a house now, but so blessed for that. But we were in a tiny condo, and it was just me and my husband, my daughter. We're on lockdown. We couldn't go anywhere. And I'm a person that needs to move around and do a lot. I've been that way my entire life. So to be in the house and not be able to go anywhere. My brain just needed some type of movement at that point. So I would wake up every day and I created a schedule for myself, just because I needed the structure because that's what I'm used to. And on that schedule, I had time to just like focus on my goals. And my goal since I was a little girl, as far as I can remember back, was always to have a hairline, a product line, a skin line for my people. So I would sit and work on it each day, and it just grew before my eyes.
Now, you talked about launching this business during the pandemic. Millions of people, they lost their jobs or they were just like, I need to go out and do something different. And like you, they went out and pursued their goals and aspirations. Now, did you discuss your goals and aspirations with anyone?
I did not. And I have never told anyone. When I actually launched my website and my company, everyone was so surprised. Even my parents were like, where did this come from? And I'm like, yeah, this is what I wanted to do all the time. But my grandmother always told me, if you really want something, you don't tell anyone. You hold it and you do it. So that's what I did. And it actually worked for me. And I feel so grateful for that.
You got to say that louder for the people in the back who probably did not hear that, because grandma is on point. Say it one more time for the people in the back.
Yeah, my grandmother always told me that if you really want to accomplish something in life, then you don't tell people, you just do it. And so that's what I did with this.
And why did grandma give you that advice?
I think because she was a very wise woman. In the past, I've told people things that I wanted to do, and maybe it didn't work out exactly as I thought it would. But this is something that I held dear to my heart, and I said, okay, I'm listening to grandma with this one. Okay, I'm not going to tell anyone. So even my husband, he was like, where did this come from? No one knew.
Wow. Love it. Okay, so Verified Beauty. I'm getting that right, correct? Verified
Yes.
Beauty. All right. So it's a natural hair care line. Why natural hair care?
Because I have natural hair. Right now, I actually have a protective style in my hair, but I've had natural hair for about 15 years. I love it. And I just wanted to give back to my people. And I also want to show women of color that, you're beautiful. You don't have to put perms in your hair. You don't have to do all these things to your hair. You're beautiful just the way you are. And little girls, especially.
Yes. We definitely need that, especially with our people. I was addicted to the creamy crack. I had a relaxer.
I was too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I had a relaxer for years, and I want to say like maybe 10, almost 15. During this part of the conversation, I rambled on about my natural hair journey, what it's like to wear my natural curls as a Black woman working in broadcast news, and the ups and downs of finding the right product that works best for my curls. I share that story to say thank you for making sure that you're tapping into the natural hair world, regardless of how many businesses there are out there. Sometimes it just takes one. So as a natural hair woman, I appreciate you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. So when we spoke, you said that you did a number of things to spread the word of Verified Beauty. Talk to me a little bit about how you were literally knocking on virtual doors.
Yes. So every day at work, during my lunch break, I would spend a small amount of time, like 10 minutes, eating my food, and then for the remainder of that time, I would work on my brand. I would reach out to people. I would call radio stations. I would newspapers, anything I could think of that day, and I would call those people on my break and tell them about my products because I always was told when I was younger, you're going to get tons of no's in life. But it doesn't mean that it's your first no, your last no. You're going to get no's. So some people would say no to me, and that was okay. I would call 5 more. So I've been on a couple of different radio stations, Steve Harvey and Donnie McClurkin's show, and a list of other things, because I wanted to make sure I put all of my effort into that. And when I left work, even sometimes working overtime, I would still come home and work 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 8 hours, depending on what I needed to get done that day, on my brand, because I felt like if I was working for someone else, then I could come home and work for myself. although my parents were not happy and my husband was like, you need sleep. But I feel like, it worked out for me and I'm okay.
Right. So you talk about the hustle and grind, working and building your brand, moonlighting, some of us will call it. What are some of the pros and cons that you learned during that process?
Well, that you definitely need determination. You have to actually want your goal, because I feel that some people sometimes say, I want this and I want that, but are you actually putting the effort like behind it? So I had to learn to put effort behind exactly what I wanted, and even when I was tired, just to go a little bit more. And I think that really helped me out. I also started to, this is my journal, I also started to write and kind of do affirmations and those type of things about my business. This is actually the one that I use all the time for my business. So, that I'm going to be successful and that type of thing. So that was something that helped me. And I still do that today.
Fantastic. Now, how about l- learning lessons, life lessons, business lessons that you have walked away with starting a business in the middle of a pandemic? Like if somebody's out there and they're like, wow, she did this during a pandemic. How did she do this? Because a lot of people have a lot of doubts, right?
Right.
But you know,
But
what
you
are
can't, I feel that you can't have doubts. So I don't doubt anything about my company. Other people may doubt it, but in my head, I think I'm going to the top. This is going to be a household brand. And it's going to be something that, my kids and grandkids know about and still use. That's what I want I want that for my company. I feel that if you doubt things, then you're already saying this is not going to work out. You have to believe that this is what's going to happen. This is
now
it.
that is the perfect segue into your ultimate goal for verified beauty. You said that basically you want to build something for your family.
Yes.
Big picture, 10, 15 years from now, verified beauty, where are you?
10, 15 years from now, I am able to employ more people than I'm employing now. I have a staff of about 8 people right now, and we're in several different locations, but I want to be able to help tons of people. I want to be able to have retreats for little girls that think they're not pretty because they have natural hair. I want to be able to show others how to start their own natural hair care. There's enough for everyone. I'm definitely not stingy. I would like to show other people like, hey, you can start this, and within so and so days, amount of days, I can show you how to start your own brand. I want to be able to go talk at schools to little girls that, don't feel that they're pretty and that type of thing. I just want it to be a household brand, something that when you see it, everybody knows, oh, that's Verified Beauty.
In 2020, Essence magazine reported that Black consumers are making the switch from general products to those that specifically cater to them. And as a result, the Black hair care industry in the United States pulled in more than $2 billion in 2018.
Given that this podcast is called Better Said Than Written, right? I like to have like a quote or even a passage that usually sounds better when it's
Right.
said than written. You pulled out your book of affirmations. I don't know if you have something in there that you wanted to share. Uh, particularly one quote or affirmation that keeps you going and keeps you striving towards your goal.
Okay, so I don't know if you can actually see this, but this is the one that I'm going to share here. And it says, I have a natural, successful hair care product line that helps others mentally and physically, because it's not just about me. So it's also about others too.
I love it. Love that. Love that. Awesome. Well, if there's anything else that you wanted the audience to know, or if anybody out there listening that's, probably having self-doubt or, thinking about launching their own business or just going after something new, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to do it. Like, don't wait another second. Get your paper out. Start writing down your ideas. Start reaching out to people. Reach out to me. It's okay. I'm here for anybody that wants to talk or needs help or needs direction. Just do it. Don't wait another second, because life is not promised for tomorrow. I had a friend today that passed away this morning, a very close friend. And I was not going to miss this interview.
You could have canceled.
No way. She was a very strong Black woman, very successful. She worked for the National AIDS Association, helping others. Just a light of energy. I've never seen her be mean to anyone. We've been friends since 2006. I've never seen a mean anything happen. So I just hear her in my head when I'm getting ready, like, boo, you better get your stuff together. It's almost time. So I say all that to say, you have to keep going no matter what's going on. Some people that would have happened this morning and they would have canceled and they wouldn't have done it. But when you're sick, you do it. When you have death in the family, you do it. No matter what, you just continue to go towards your goal.
Well, thank you. I really do appreciate that. Wow. I really do appreciate those words. And I'm pretty sure whoever's listening will also appreciate those words and those guidance. You had emailed me before this session, and you said that you have some big news about Verified Beauty, and I didn't want to spoil it. And so I was like, we could just wait until we get on this podcast. And so the news is going to close out the podcast. So tell me what's going on.
All right, so I'm super excited to say that Verified Beauty is now going to be sold on the Army base, Fort Jackson, Columbia, South Carolina.
Wow.
So I went down.
Oh my God, knocking on doors, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying. So I reached out to them. That was the same thing that I was talking about with the nose. I didn't know if they were going to be like, no way, like, what are you talking about? But they liked what I said. They liked my products. I had to send a product list and all of these paperwork and all this stuff. Everything went great. And so she called me. Actually, I hadn't heard from them. And so I sent another email. I'm like, I haven't heard a yes or a no. I need to hear something. So I sent a message back and I'm like, hi, I haven't heard from you. Just wanted to tell you about, blah, 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 talking to her. And she said, you know what? Can you come tomorrow at 12 noon? I said, I will be there. And so it just so happened that, God had moved all these things around for me, because at that time I was on quarantine. I didn't even have COVID, but I was on quarantine. So I was able to not be at work, drive to Columbia, South Carolina, have this meeting, take all my products. And it just turned out great. And so we're going to be on the Army base this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually at their mall. So the Army base or military, they call their malls exchanges. So it's at their exchange inside of the mall exchange.
True story. I used to be a former military Marine Corps wife. So I'm totally familiar with the exchange. I know how big of a deal that is, especially for new families coming to, different cities, because their spouses are in the Corps or active duty, and finding products for anything is a little difficult, affordable. Yes. So
it's also she actually told me that on Wednesdays and Thursdays, they have graduation for the soldiers, which is about 3,000 to 4,000 people coming into the exchange every Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm super excited about that.
Wow.
That's a lot of possibilities. Will I get some no's? Maybe, but I'll get yeses too in that time.
Yes, I love that. I really, really love that. Well, once again, thank you so much. You could go ahead and
having me.
You're welcome. Now's the time to let people know where they can find you. So your social media and all that website.
Definitely. Our website is verifiedbeautyllc.com. So that's www.verifiedbeautyllc.com. You can also call customer service 704-840-2219. And you can check us out on all social media handles at Verified Beauty LLC. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'll make sure that I put it in the show notes for the podcast. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Kieta dropped several gems during our conversation, but the one that stuck out to me the most was toward the end, where she said, there are a lot of possibilities. Will I get some no's? Maybe, but I'll get some yeses too. So I'll leave you with this. If you are trying to achieve a goal and it requires help from another person, but you get rejected, move on and ask the next person. Repeat this process until you get a solid yes. That wraps up this episode of Better Said Than Written. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have a story to share, I'd love to hear it, and I'll love to share it. So send me a note to tcsviews@gmail.com. That's tcsviews@gmail.com.